Yes, yes you can. Well, if you're still here, I suppose you'd like to see the steps required to beat the Elite Four. So first, the ground rules that I set for myself. Only wild Pokemon, no legendaries. No items. My first run used items outside of battle, and I beat them on my first try, so that's too easy. Mono battle style, and the last is not exactly a rule, but a goal, is to use as few Pokemon as possible. My second run used 6 wild Pokemon, and I also beat them on my first try, so that's still too easy. For my current run, I'll be trying it with 3 wild Pokemon. There are only 2 places you need to go to get the Pokemon for this run. The first is Cerulean Cave. It's full of the highest level Pokemon in the game, but for this run there are 2 that are significantly better than the rest. First, level 51 Kadabra. It has great speed and special and has a very good move pool. Recover, Psybeam, Psychic, and Reflect. Next is a level 64 Raichu. He only knows Thunder Shock as an attacking move, but I need an Electric for Lorelei, and among wild Pokemon there aren't any better options. For the last Pokemon on my team, I took a trip over to Lavender Town. I know that many Elite Four Pokemon only know normal moves, so a Ghost Pokemon would be very helpful in my run. If you go to the very top floor, you can find a level 28 Haunter instead of a level 22 Ghastly. This means Nightshade will do more damage, and it will learn Hypnosis a lot sooner. His poison typing will also be extremely helpful. In Generation 1, some trainers and members of the Elite Four with quote, good AI will only use super effective moves. Even if the move is a status move, they'll keep spamming it. This leads to many Pokemon in the Elite Four being incapable of damaging Ghastly or other poison types, even though they otherwise would be able to. The first example is coming up shortly. On to the third run, 3 wild Pokemon and no items, and finally it becomes difficult. At this point all my Pokemon are important enough that any feint means I reset. I lose to Agathos Gengar with some bad luck, which technically could have happened last run. I lose to Lorelei's Jinx multiple times. I'm using Kadabra to fight Jinx because I figure its health can be recovered while Raichu can't. But Jinx has a high crit rate in Gen 1, and it can easily kill Kadabra with a crit Body Slam or Thrash. Did I mention Body Slam can paralyze? Paralysis means I reset. But with enough luck I can get past Jinx. The next roadblock is Lapras. It knocks me out from confusion damage in a few runs, and I work out the best strategy against it. The strategy is to try to use Nightshade twice, then Confuse Ray. Nightshade does more damage than Confuse Ray, so the only benefit to Confuse Ray is to prevent Lapras from confusing me. But that is only helpful when I'm not confused, so the best time to use it is when my confusion is about to end. With this improved strategy, I'm almost always able to beat Lapras. The next loss I had was against Blue. At this point my Kadabra only had 3 attacks left. I used Psychic against Arcanine and discovered that he can almost one-hit Kadabra with Takedown. I get lucky against Ember and land my 60% Hypnosis. I switch in Raichu and Thunder Shock while he wakes up. I just managed to finish it with the second Thunder Shock before he attacks. He sends out Executor and I send out Haunter. I use all my Confuse Rays and Nightshades, but unfortunately it's not enough. Raichu also runs out of damaging moves and I lose. At this point I'm not sure if it's possible. Running out of PP seems nearly unavoidable, but I think if I reserve more Nightshades for Executor, I might have a chance. Here's the next run I get. Okay, against Lorelei, I lead Haunter as usual. I hit it once to get it to go to sleep. Because it's spamming rest, because of the good AI oversight. Then I switch to Raichu for a free turn and start Thunder Shocking it. I use Thunder Shock against most of her Pokemon and it's pretty easy up until Jinx. For Jinx I use Thunder Wave and then continue spamming Thunder Shock and just hope she doesn't do too much damage to me. There's not really a better strategy against Jinx. I've tried Kadabra, he's too frail, and I mean obviously Jinx would one-hit Haunter with a Ice Punch, so that's not going to work either. So I basically just have to use Raichu and hope that I get lucky. In this run I get kind of lucky. She doesn't do too much damage. I mean, she doesn't kill me, basically. She doesn't kill me. That's the only good thing about this run. But I stick with it. So then I switch over to Kadabra on accident, which kind of sucks, but it's not that bad. You'll see. So then I switch to Haunter, which I actually meant to in the first place, and because of the good AI oversight, it will keep spamming Confuse Ray against me. So I'll use Nightshade and Confuse Ray against it. Basically the only good time for me to use Confuse Ray is right when my own confusion is about to end, because then it will deal some damage to Lapras and also prevent Lapras from confusing me, which prevents a bit of damage to me. which is actually somewhat important in being able to beat her, because if I just spam Confuse Ray from the get-go, usually Lorelei beats me in this fight. But if I use 2 Nightshades and then Confuse Ray, usually I will beat her. Then I level up and learn Hypnosis, which is pretty important, as you'll see. So then I switch Kadabra up to the front of my party, because next is Bruno. So against Bruno, the Onix is a pretty safe Pokemon to heal against, because it's really weak. So I'll just spam Recover until it doesn't attack me, and there it didn't attack me. I don't remember if I go for another Recover. Okay, yeah, I do go for another one. So yeah, just spam that until he... Okay, yeah, for Rage, because of Rage, he's just going to keep attacking. So at this point, I just have to attack him, which I do. Also at this point, I've realized that Psybeam kills most of his Pokemon. So I can save on Psychic PP, which is actually pretty important. Yeah, it's surprising that it one-hits Onix. I mean, it's not even super effective and it one-hits it. But Machamp I still have to Psychic. I have tested, Psybeam doesn't one-hit KO the Machamp. Next is Agatha, and it's pretty much the same strategy as before. Kadabra, I mean, has the type advantage against her whole team, so it's not too difficult. Usually I win. Mostly the strategy is just knowing when it's good to Psychic and when it's good to Psybeam. A lot of times Psybeam is better just because Psychic isn't a one-hit kill anyways, in which case, you might as well Psybeam twice instead of Psychicking twice. Just save PP for Psychic, which is what I do against Gengar, and at the end there you saw I managed to heal because Gengar is pretty safe to heal against. Lance is next, so I switch my injured Raichu to the front. I hit him with a Thunder Shock, which doesn't quite knock him out, and he decides to Leer me instead of hitting me. Great, I Thunder Shock him again and take him out. And that's the end of the hard part of the Lance fight. The rest of his team knows Psychic moves, or only normal moves like Aerodactyl. So you can exploit the good AI and use Haunter, and they won't be able to hit him. Basically, the only difficulty left is that I need to conserve Haunter's PP to use against Executor later on. So I use Hypnosis to put the Pokemon to sleep and then switch over to Kadabra to deal the damage and take them out. In this game, sleep is pretty broken, so they actually can't wake up on the switch. In fact, when they do wake up on the... Okay, so they can wake up on the switch, but if they do wake up, they can't attack when they wake up. So it basically means against a sleeping Pokemon, you are 100% safe. They have no chance of hitting you. Which means this strategy that I'm using against his team is very safe. And, yeah, basically has a 100% success rate. So yeah, here I switch to Raichu instead because he'll deal more damage and use less PP to take out the Aerodactyl. I think I use Raichu for Dragonair as well, or Dragonite as well. Let's see. Yeah, he uses Barrier. Well, yeah, so Dragonite will spam Barrier. Oh yes, and this is the one where I miss like 5 times in a row. I decide that I don't want a Hypnosis. I just want to miss. Yeah, so that's actually pretty important because I need that Hypnosis PP. And so if I run out, that would be very bad. So yeah, I only have 6 left. I managed to hit that one on the first try, which is pretty good. And then here, I managed to get really lucky, and he sleeps for like 6 turns in a row, which is really important. So yeah, that's Lance defeated, and it wasn't too bad except for all the Hypnosis I lost. So, on to the final rival fight. Obviously I lead Raichu here as well, and I Thunder Shock it once, and he goes for Thunder Shock as well, which does not kill me, amazingly. Against Alakazam, I have to Thunder Wave it, and unfortunately I get taken out, which pretty much reduces my likelihood of winning by quite a bit, because his last Pokemon is Blastoise, of course. But yeah, I get a special drop, which is pretty damn good. And then I get another one immediately, which is incredibly good. And then he gets a crit, which really sucks, but yeah, then I managed to take him out, which is, I mean, really lucky, but I am really low, obviously. So here I want to hit a Hypnosis, and I do hit the second one, so then I switch back to Kadabra, and I'm going to heal it up. And this is a pretty safe way to heal, because again, he can't hit me the turn that he wakes up. And then I want to Psybeam to conserve my last 3 Psychics. So here again I decide to switch back to Haunter because he can't hit Haunter, and I'm going to Hypnosis him to get a safer kill on Rhydon. And then unfortunately he full restores all the health and the sleep away. So I have one more shot at Hypnosis, which I'm going to have to take, and I only have 7 more attacking moves on Kadabra, which is pretty important for winning. So yeah, I take my shot at Hypnosis. Any moment now, I take my shot at Hypnosis. Okay, yeah, okay. Yes, Hypnosis. And I miss, which really sucks. So then I lick him to paralyze him, and then confuse him to give the lowest odds of him hitting my Kadabra, and then I switch back and hit it twice, I think. Yeah, it just dies in 2 hits. And then I'm on to Arcanine, who is pretty scary because Takedown will nearly one-hit KO me. I don't think it would actually one-hit KO me, but he decides to go for Ember instead, which is really lucky for me. And then yeah, I have 3 attacking moves left on Kadabra, which is obviously incredibly low. And then I switch over to Haunter, and this fight is gonna take a while. Executor resists Raichu and Kadabra's moves, so pretty much the only bet I have against him is to save up all my Confuse Ray and Nightshade PP to use on Executor right here. Another thing about Gen 1 is that Ghost moves are, instead of being super effective against Psychic, they are not effective at all against Psychic. So my Lick PP actually doesn't help me at all in this fight. And I get really lucky near the end there and take him out. Near the end I get really lucky because I managed to knock him out on the same turn he Confusion hits himself, and I Nightshade him, so that prevents him from using a full restore, which saves a lot of PP for Haunter. On to the last Pokemon. He decides to use Withdraw instead of hitting me, which is just amazing. And then I Confuse Ray him, and he hits himself in Confusion 4 times in a row, which is obviously just amazing. And I Nightshade him on the first 3 hits, and then lick him on the last one because I'm out of Nightshades. And finally he takes me out, but that was incredibly lucky. And then I switch over to Kadabra, and luckily he just doesn't heal his Blastoise, and I take him out with my final Psychic. And that's it, the Elite Four defeated with 3 wild Pokemon and no items. I definitely got lucky at the end, but I think I could have gotten lucky earlier in the run as well to win. Either way, it was fun, and thanks for watching. Also, I upload every week, so check my previous videos if you're interested.